Welcome to another deep dive. I'm your host, Max Ledge.
And I'm Sasha Coin. It's great to be back.
It's great to have you. Today, we're diving into something that feels, well, it feels like a major signal for corporate crypto adoption.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about the news that Sony is launching its own stablecoin.
Exactly. And our mission today is to really unpack what that means. This isn't just a gaming company adding a new payment button. This is a potential blueprint for how huge companies are going to weave themselves into Web3.
That's right. And the big question we're tackling for you is, what does this move by Sony really tell us about the future of corporate stablecoins, about layer 2s, and this huge battle for interoperability that's heating up?
So to get you fully up to speed, we've broken this down into 3 parts. First, we'll cover the core concept. Why are they even doing this?
Then we'll look at the real-world use cases. Who else is building these things right now?
And finally, we'll get into the future, the big risks and the tech vision that's driving all of these massive decisions.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. We've all seen the headline. Sony Bank plans to roll out a USD-pegged stablecoin by 2026. What's the real financial reason here?
It really just boils down to 2 things: efficiency and control.
Okay.
The biggest, most immediate goal is to dramatically cut down on the fees they pay to credit card networks.
Right, the Visa and MasterCard interchange fees. For an ecosystem the size of Sony's, that must be, what, billions?
It's astronomical. I mean, think about it. Every PlayStation game, every subscription, all the anime content on Crunchyroll, those little fees add up incredibly fast.
And they're targeting a specific market with this, right?
Yes, very specifically. They're going after U.S. customers first, which, makes up a staggering 30% of Sony's entire revenue.
Wow.
So by creating their own USD-backed stablecoin, they're basically building their own private payment highway.
So this is way more than just, adding a crypto checkout option. It's like they're building a new internal financial rail.
It's a total vertical integration play. They're even applied for a U.S. banking license, and they're partnering with a U.S.-based issuer, Bastion.
And they have that Web3 subsidiary Blockplume that's focused on this too.
Exactly. They're going all in on embedding digital assets, NFTs, payments, all of it deep into their entertainment business.
Okay, but this brings up the big skeptical question from, the crypto purists.
The glorified gift card argument.
Yeah, exactly. If it's centralized and Sony controls it, why not just use a normal database with an API? What's the point of the blockchain?
And that is the perfect question, because while it is centralized, the blockchain gives them something a database can't: instant final settlement for microtransactions without any outside party.
So they own the flow of value completely.
They own the entire flow. They can manage liquidity, they can create user incentives, and they cut out all the friction and cost of the legacy banking system. For a platform like PlayStation, that kind of control is everything.
Okay, so scale is clearly the main driver for Sony. But they can't be the only ones thinking this way. Who else is chasing this same use case?
Well, this trend is exploding globally, but especially in Asia. If you look at South Korea, there is a full-blown stablecoin race happening right now between their 2 biggest tech giants.
Naver and Kakao.
Exactly. First, you've got Naver. They're planning to use a one-based stablecoin in their Zepeto metaverse,
Wow.
which has, 400 million users.
400 million, that's incredible.
It's huge. And they're partnering with Dunamo, the operator of Upbit, Korea's biggest exchange.
And then Kakao is leveraging its main asset, the chat app.
Right. Kakao Talk has almost 50 million active users. They're partnering with a rival exchange, Koinon. The use case is identical to Sony's payments, gaming, metaverse stuff.
But there's a pretty big roadblock for them, right? The
A
regulators.
huge roadblock. The Bank of Korea is, let's say, extremely cautious. They're worried about capital flight and, losing control over monetary policy if these private digital currencies get too big.
So there's this tension between what business wants and what regulators will allow.
A lot of tension. But everyone knows they're falling behind the U.S. and Japan, so they're expected to make a move on regulation soon.
This friction must really influence the tech choices they make. Which brings us to the core technical question. How are they actually building this stuff? Is it new layer 1s or something else?
The consensus is definitely shifting. It's moving away from building these expensive standalone layer 1s and towards spinning up their own custom layer 2 rollups.
Like the rumored Sony ML2.
Exactly.
So why isn't L2 so much more attractive for a company like Sony?
It's pretty simple. You inherit the security of Ethereum L1.
which is the most secure and expensive chain to attack in the world.
By far. So you get that security without having to pay for or manage all the infrastructure yourself. It's just fundamentally cheaper and easier to launch a rollup while still getting the security guarantees of the public chain. It's really the best of both worlds for them.
Okay, so if enterprises are all in on L2s, we need to understand the roadmap for the ecosystem they're building on. What's coming for Ethereum scaling?
Right. The next big upgrade cycle, what some are calling Fusaka, is all about handling this explosion in L2 data.
After Denkin introduced blobs, which is like cheap temporary data storage for L2s.
Precisely. It's like a temporary data parking lot. Now, looking forward, you have things like PureDAS, which is a proposal that massively increases how much data the network can handle. We're talking up to 8 times the current transaction limits.
And it does this without making it harder for people to run nodes, so it keeps it decentralized.
That's the key. This kind of scaling is a huge green light for any big institution thinking about building on Ethereum.
Okay, that handles the capacity issue. But what about the user experience? Critics always say that if every company has its own L2, it's just like having a bunch of separate L1s again.
A totally valid criticism. You'd need bridges, you'd be swapping tokens, it would be a mess.
But what's the long-term solution to that fragmentation?
The vision is a system that uses something called account abstraction.
Can you break that down for us? What is that?
Sure. Think of account abstraction as upgrading your crypto wallet. Instead of just holding your keys, it becomes a programmable smart contract.
A smart wallet.
A very smart wallet. It can handle complexity for you, like paying gas fees in different tokens, or most importantly, routing transactions across all these different L2s automatically.
So as a user, I wouldn't even need to know if my asset is on Sony's L2 or, say, Deutsche Bank's L2.
You wouldn't care at all. The whole roll-up ecosystem would feel like one single unified network to you. The complexity is just abstracted away.
That vision brings us right to the central debate in our sources. Are the big TradFi players really going to stick with public Ethereum L2s, or will they build their own private chains for maximum control?
It's a huge debate, and you see strong moves on both sides. On the pro-public L2 side, you have these massive collaborative efforts like Project Guardian.
That's the one led by Singapore's regulator, with JP Morgan, Citi, all the big banks.
Right. They're proving that you can handle compliance and privacy on public L2s using tools like EY's Nightfall protocol, which uses ZK tech. They get the security and the public auditability.
But then you have the counter-argument, the push for fully private chains. What's the advantage there?
Total control. If you run your own private L1, you control everything. The validators, the transaction order, the latency. For high-speed trading, milliseconds matter.
So that's why we see things like JP Morgan's Kinexys or the Canton Network.
Exactly. And even Swift's new blockchain is built as a private instance. They want that guaranteed performance and control.
Okay, so if we're going to have this fragmented world of public L2s and private L1s, we need something to connect them now, right? We can't wait for that perfect, seamless future.
Precisely. And that's why Chainlink CRE protocol is seen as so critical in the short to medium term. It's the bridge that connects all these different systems together.
But wait, if account abstraction is the decentralized future for public chains, isn't something like Chainlink CRE a more centralized step backward?
That's a great point. The way to think about it is that account abstraction is the vision for the public ecosystem. CRE is the reality for connecting the private regulated systems that TradFi already uses to that new public world.
So they're solving different problems.
They are, and many believe they'll both coexist. CRE will handle that high-value regulated traffic between the old world and the new.
All right, let's pivot to the risks. For anyone who believes in decentralization, these corporate coins raise a lot of red flags. What are the big ones?
The core risk is simple. You lose all the decentralized guarantees.
Because Sony Bank controls the ledger.
Because Sony Bank controls everything. The coins can be tracked, they can be reclaimed, they can be frozen.
And we even saw mentions of balances potentially expiring.
Yes, it's possible that under some frameworks, if you don't use your balance for, say, 2 years, it could expire and just become revenue for the company.
That just feels so wrong for a crypto asset.
Yeah.
Which brings back that critic's question. If it can be frozen and tracked, why not just use a bank database?
It's a fair question, but it misses the point for them. They're not using it for censorship resistance. They're using it for instant settlement and native integration with things like NFTs and games.
Makes sense. But there's another risk here, a new security risk.
Yeah, a really interesting one. It creates a new way for criminals to make money. They can compromise an account, use a stolen credit card to load it up with the company's stablecoin.
And then immediately transfer to another wallet before the bank can reverse the fraudulent charge.
Exactly. The efficiency of the rail also makes the crime more efficient. It's a serious consideration.
Okay, so let's wrap this all up. The signal from Sony is loud and clear. Mass consumer adoption is coming through these proprietary stablecoins designed to cut out traditional payment processors.
And the tech battle is really between two visions. On one side, you have these compliant L2s on Ethereum, which are getting supercharged by scaling upgrades like PureDAS.
And on the other, you have the private independent L1s that need tools like Chainlink CRE to connect back to everything else.
But institutional adoption is here. That's not up for debate anymore.
So connecting this all back for you, the listener, what's the final thought we should leave you with?
I think the final provocative question is this. You have regulators and giant banks all collaborating on public L2s in things like Project Guardian. At the same time, the cost of launching one of these rollups is plummeting. So given that, is there really any competitive reason left for a big institution to spend millions building their own expensive, isolated Layer 1 network? Or is the future just a sea of customized rollups all plugging into Ethereum security?
A question that is going to define the next few years of digital finance for sure. This has been a fantastic deep dive. Thank you for walking us through it.
My pleasure. Always fun.
And thank you for tuning in and learning with us. If you want more insights like this, be sure to subscribe to the Token Trends Weekly podcast. We'll see you next time.